Would you marry someone and not have any of your family there with you to celebrate? Guys, I don't know, but we are back for another episode of 90 Day Fiancé Flirting with Disaster. Stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
I love Drake.
Drake always is like,
I'd be a 90
pick
day
me up, huh?
I'd be a 90 Day Fiancé with Drake.
Ooh, me too. He's so cute.
So cute. So cute.
Love Drake.
Guys, welcome back to the 90 Day Fiancé After Show. I'm one of your hosts, Leida and Antwi, with my great co-host.
Hey guys, I'm Stacey Olivas, and yeah, Alex isn't here with us. We miss you. She's home for the holidays, but she'll be back next week.
And we will be back with the whole family. But until then, guys, this episode had me all in my feelings, and not in a good way. What were your overall thoughts?
I was a little upset when I was watching this episode. We were kind of talking about it earlier. Yeah. Like, are any of these couples in it for love? I mean, maybe one person in the relationship is in it for love, but the other significant other, it's making me upset. I'm kind of ashamed of the Americans, actually. Not gonna lie.
I'm so... not just the Americans, because there's a couple of the non-Americans
that's
who
true.
are
That's
off
true.
the chain.
Sorry,
guys, we've got news and gossip. We're going to talk all about Colty. And let's just jump right in.
Colty and Larissa.
Colty and Larissa E.
What?
And Debbie.
Colty the womanizer? What the heck?
Okay,
Where did this come from?
Okay, so first of all, Larissa, Colty is in no way, shape, or form a womanizer. He might want female attention because he probably has lacked it in his life, but there's no way he's a womanizer. Like, yeah, he was, kind of giving Google eyes and complimenting the lady when they were looking at cakes and venues for their wedding, but I don't think he was like trying to be like, oh, hey.
Yeah. Do you think it's like a form of like control or maybe or something over Lisa? Because she reacts and he's just like, he seems like he's not the crazy one, the one that's doing all these like nutty things, but because he just stays calm.
Yeah.
Do you think, Linda, he kind of in a weird way controls Larissa?
Oh, he controls her because he has all the money.
Exactly.
Right? So he controls her. I feel like he wants just the trophy wife. I think that he knows that she's way out of his league. But there's obviously those two have something like she's bringing something to the table that she wants, and he's bringing something to the table that he wants. Like,
but she's still getting jealous, so she does like him. It's not like she doesn't like him at all, because if you don't like someone, you would not get jealous.
But is she really getting jealous, or she just really wants all the attention? Because there's a difference. Right?
Like, or maybe he knows what buttons of hers to push.
Well, she even said it. She said that you don't give me compliments. You should compliment me first. When I put my makeup on and look beautiful, I'm the first person you should compliment. And then he was kind of a jerk about it and was like, oh, well, you look nice. Sorry. Right? So wait, what? And I wanted to talk a little bit about when they went for Brazilian food.
Yeah.
So they went for Brazilian food to celebrate their engagement, and they brought mom along, and first time for both Colt and Debbie having Brazilian food. And then Larissa she loved the place, right? And you saw a little bit of a weird moment when they the waiter started speaking Portuguese to her, and then Colt was looking over like, I don't know what's going on. So I can see what you're saying a little bit with the controlling part.
Yeah, so maybe it was like revenge when he was flirting with the other girl, because it was a way to get back at her. Haven't you been in those relationships?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in those relationships where it's like you're out of the person's league or whatever.
Yeah.
Complimenting myself. And then they're like trying to flirt with other people because they feel insecure. He's insecure. He knows she could get another guy. Yeah. I mean, she's outgoing. She's fun.
Yeah. Well, she also has a little crazy past, which, we both really have to think about, because she's got 2 kids. There's some prostitute stuff, rumors going around. So
I want to hear more about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in news and gossip a little bit. So another thing that I thought was a little sad about this whole couple was that none of her family's going to be at their wedding.
I know, that's sad. She probably feels so alone. You know what I mean? And then Colt's not all about her or anything. It doesn't make I don't know. I just feel like she's probably super lonely. And then your family's not going to be at the wedding. Who do you have there? Who has your back?
Okay, so here's why I'm confused. Because she says she wants a big wedding.
Yeah.
Right? She wants a big wedding.
Who are you going to invite?
Who are you inviting because you just moved to Vegas and you don't know anybody? And then I found it interesting how she kind of just brushed it off like, no, none of my family's going to come because it's a long flight. Wait,
maybe
what?
she's wanting Colt to pay for all of it. Like, I want my family here, and you have to pay for that.
Or maybe she's marrying him for alternate reasons, and that's why she doesn't want any of her family to witness the nonsense.
Oh my God.
Because isn't this like her third marriage?
Yeah.
So
you think she's... Yeah.
So
I mean, everyone's getting something out of it, I guess.
There was that, and then there was the part where Colt was like, I'm only 70% sure that I want to marry you now.
He messes with her.
That was
a
really
lot.
not cool. That was really not cool. And then she was like, well, now I'm only 30% sure. And then when she had her one-on-one, she was like, well, before he brought me over here, he was 100% sure. And now he's saying that he's not sure. He needs to decide, or I'll just go back.
Exactly. He had to woo her to get her over here. And then once you're over here, it's like the relationships that you fail. It's like, okay, now you see the truth and what the person's really like.
Yeah, it was something.
Cheap.
And then cheap, but I love how she also kept calling him, you're an attention whore. Attention whore, you whore. And he's like, I'm not a whore. Yeah.
And then when he responds, it's like, okay, I'm not a whore. And then she was like, act like a man with class, Colt. I'm like, come on. Colt's not this player. I mean, he could be, but...
I don't see it.
I don't know.
Do you guys see it?
I don't know.
I don't see it. I don't see it
I've seen some weird things, so...
Listen, Colt and Debbie and Larissa. Colt is not the player, but maybe he is.
Maybe
I'm just
in
not
Vegas, Colt's doing his thing. Maybe.
I don't know. Let's move on. Let's move on to Steven and Olga.
Oh my gosh.
So Steven and Olga, what I saw about this couple first and foremost is that Steven has no idea what he's doing.
No.
He's super immature, and it's starting to show that he has a bit of an anger issue.
Yes. When you guys mentioned that last week, before when I was watching the episode, I didn't see it as much, but now I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
And he was like, and then he also said to her, you're not going to tell me when I can touch my son.
Yep.
But you could see how he was like holding it back, because who knows how crazy he gets when the cameras aren't there.
Yeah.
Cameras are there.
Yeah, it's not good. It's really, really not good. And then we saw last week how, she just had a C-section, so she's still healing from major surgery, because that is major surgery. And you just had a baby. And he's arguing with her the whole way. And he got a little physical with her last week.
Yeah.
Right? And she mentioned it. So when she talked about it in the car, like, let me show you what this argument looks like from my point of view, and how he was being physical, I thought, you know what? That's something to keep in mind, because that temper of his and him only being 20 and them both being like sleep deprived, new baby, crying, that could be a really bad situation.
Scary.
Yeah, for both of them.
So I hope it doesn't get like worse, or it hasn't gotten worse. And then it was interesting when he said his family constantly fought, and then he didn't want his kid to have an unhealthy relationship in front of him like he did. But he was fighting in front of his son. He was the one that was arguing. And I'm like, well, you're saying all these things, but your actions are contradicting all of it.
Yeah, he can't. It's like she said, once he gets started, he can't stop. And he's like a volcano, right?
That's scary. When if you're dating someone, if you describe them like that, run.
Yeah, and then here's the thing. And then, so you have a temper, you explode. And then he goes to the camera and says, well, I don't like being told what to do, but I also know that I need to be more patient and respectful towards Olga. Like, that's sociopath behavior. Oh. You're like freaking out, and then all of a sudden you're calm and you're like, yeah, I know I should be better and be patient and respectful, but I'm gonna do it anyways.
It's a common thing. I mean, I don't want to talk about all the couples, but this is a common thing, and we were talking about. There's a lot of control going on.
Yeah, I definitely think there's some control issues. I think here too, we just have a lot of immaturity. Yeah, and I think that he obviously has not had any role models and father figures to look at to say, hey, this is how I should be acting
in a relationship.
So, these two, either they're going to need to take some parenting courses, they're going to really need to be patient with each other, and they're going to have to communicate. Yeah. And the other thing that I thought was so funny that I literally laughed out loud at the screen is the way he was like, she's like, you talking and blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. Let's just sit in silence. Like, when is it that you ever hear the woman say, could you just stop talking? Let's just listen to the quiet. But if you think about it, again, she just had a baby. She's trying to put the baby down, and she's probably tired.
She's probably exhausted.
And he's just nonstop nonstop talk.
I'm scared for this couple. I don't know. We'll talk about it in news. But.
I think they have an uphill battle. I definitely think that they have a lot to learn. And I really liked how Olga tried to keep calm. And she really took his feedback. Like, okay, I wasn't saying please and thank you and that set you off. So please go wash your hands, she said, right? And when she was talking to him, she's like very calm. She's like, don't freak out so quickly. Like, just don't freak out, calm down. So I thought, well, you know what? She's young, but she's stepping right into that mother role.
There's maturity right there. I see it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's move on to Ashley and Jay.
Oh, so some turns for this couple too. What the heck?
So he's been in the U.S. for 2 months. You know, that means, you know, they got 1 more month before they need to get married. And he's saying things aren't as good as he thought. And he is there playing video games, and Ashley's like, what are you doing all day? Like, you're just playing video games all day. And I get it, right? It's got to be hard for the person that moves, and because you can't work, you can't drive, so you're stuck in the house. Like, what are you gonna do?
And it's probably a culture shock because you're used. I mean, in America, everyone's like working on the hustle, on the grind, and probably over there it's more social. You know, there's things to do. His friends are there. He's young. I would be going crazy too at that age. I would need to be out partying, doing everything. So I don't know how he's doing it. Like, but he's also stepping into like a role that's like father. I mean, family life. I don't know. That's hard.
Yeah, but it's all of that. Yeah. It's all of that, but it's also he doesn't even have the option, like if he wanted to go and work and be on the grind, because he can't work yet because he doesn't have his green card.
That's hard.
So there's that tension. And then we start seeing some communication issues with the two of them. So she was showing a lot of jealous tendencies.
Yes.
And in his wisdom, he said, I get it. She's been burned a couple of times, so she's holding on to that in her history. And then, you know, I've been back in Jamaica, you know, I was a playboy.
He owned it. Yes. Like, it's not, most guys would be like, no, I've never cheated on a girl, whatever. And he actually owned it. So I'm seeing a lot more maturity in these younger individuals on this episode.
I was surprised because she was usually the one that in this relationship, the one that seemed like the voice of reason, and in this episode, Jay definitely seemed a little bit more reasonable, right?
And
so she goes off to work, comes back, and he's like trying to say, you know what? Ashley always thinks she's right, so I'm just gonna take responsibility because I don't want to just like continue fighting. So he makes her dinner, which was really sweet, like, you know, Jamaican chicken and some rice or whatever. And you could tell she was still pissed. She was still like, I am not letting go of this. We need to communicate. You need to be better at communicating. And he basically turned it around on her and was like, yeah, but you're crazy and spiteful.
Did you see her face in that moment? And she was like, oh my, but and then before that, she's even admitted that they both do check each other's phones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of jealousy.
There's so much
jealousy issues going on there. And, you know, I get it. There's the age difference. There's the cultural difference. And
she's been cheated on a lot. He was a player. Yeah. And then she also told him, you shouldn't answer anyone but your family members.
Yeah, that was stupid, I thought.
I thought that was crazy.
Like, you should be able, he's young. He's going to talk to whoever he's going to talk to.
If someone's going to cheat on you, they're going to cheat on you. It's not like you can stop them from doing that. If that's a choice, that's a choice.
That, and you can't control who he's talking to. He's already isolated because he doesn't know anyone. So if he's going to be on the phone, as much as she admits that she's on the phone, then let him be on the phone.
You need friends. You need a life. Like, that's, I think for her, she should have been more supportive towards him and like more appreciative to him, like kind of for moving out here. I mean, in more understanding, because he doesn't have anybody. Yeah. Like, I couldn't imagine going to another country and not having anybody, none of your friends, no one.
And I also think, too, like, you can't say, because up until this point, all we've heard her say is, like, oh, well, in Jamaica, I don't care if he cheated on me. He can do whatever he wants. And then all of a sudden, you flip it. All of a sudden, he's here in front of you. Obviously, you don't want him to cheat, but you can't have been so lackadaisical, and now you're super strict with him, because it's not going to work.
Now you're in America.
Yeah, you're in America. Now, no talking to anybody but your family. Right?
And you live in that sounds crazy. I've been seeing a lot of this episode, though. Like, I feel like...
I want to talk about something that was also stood out to me. So they're having dinner. She's having like a cocktail, and he's having a Capri Sun. I just thought the 20 and the 30-year-olds, that's the difference right there.
Do you think... I think they're in love with each other, but you think she really just doesn't trust Jay, or do you think it's all because of her past mostly?
I think that her past. I think that she, you see life through the lens that you've lived it. And she's been cheated on a couple of times. She's been engaged 2 times, and this is a young, handsome man where she's going to she feels already insecure. So that's why she wants more validation from him and more communication.
Yeah.
I think communication in relationships obviously is always important.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you knew who you were marrying because you married him because he was who he was.
Yeah.
Right?
And how far can it get? Like, I check your phone and then I want to know where you're at and then I control where you're at. Like, it needs like healthy boundaries.
Yeah, absolutely.
They need their own individual lives.
Yeah, I was a little shocked. So we're starting to see some cracks with this couple, and I really like this couple.
And she was like, "Where did you go last night?" And he's like, "I only could go to that was
McDonald's
sad.
and some
like,
store."
Oh my gosh, I was so sad. McDonald's and
yeah. And she's like, "Well, you have to tell me every time you leave the house." And he's like, "I shouldn't have to tell you if you're in the shower. Hey, I'm going to McDonald's." I get that. I get that, but also I get the communication. If we're talking about communication, you need to talk. Let's move on to Leida and Eric.
Communication. This couple's a mess.
Okay, so
it's sad. It's so sad.
Okay, so I'm going to try not to be biased.
Okay.
Because I think that Leida is a terrible individual. So I'm going to try not to be biased. But so here we see Leida and Eric, they're dropping off the parents. Their parents are going back to Indonesia. The sister really is not supportive. She doesn't approve. She thinks it's a mistake. Family's also disappointing Eric. But Eric is like, oh, I'm going to do my very best to support for your daughter and her son. And I just thought, okay, well, you haven't done it up until this point. So why all of a sudden would you change that?
Yeah.
Right. So that was like the first red flag for me. And then I thought it was interesting when, as moving forward, he said to her, so they go back to the house. He's like, oh, I've been looking at houses, single family houses. First thing she says, well, how big is the house? The first thing she says. And he's like, it's big. And then your future wife has not met your daughter, but already hates her because she thinks she purposely left the house or apartment dirty. Okay. You need to get over it.
And how old is the daughter? She's young.
She's like,
of course she's going to be reacting. Your dad's bringing someone home. I mean, age-wise, like.
No, but even if she did, whether she did it on purpose or not, it was just a dirty house. That's it.
Yeah.
So calm all the way down and give her a chance because you know what? You're supposed to be the adult. What you don't do is, I saw Tasha walk in, say hi to the baby, say hi to the dad, say hi to Leida, and Leida didn't say anything for a second and then turned and said hi. And then in the first 5 minutes, she was like, I need you to move out. And Tasha, of sound mind and body, said, well, your name is not on the lease, so you don't have the ability to kick me out.
These young people are smart.
For real.
To say that, I'd be like, lease?
For
what
real.
Lease at that age?
But I also thought the dad, like, how did the dad allow Leida to talk to Tasha the way that he allowed her? Like, that's your daughter. That's your daughter. Whether this works out or not with Leida, that is your flesh and blood.
And you know what? In the long run, if Leida runs off, where are your kids going to be? They're going to all hate you.
That's
because
right.
of the way you're treating them.
That's right. Stick up for your daughter.
Because this goes around, comes around.
Man, I was like, I cannot believe he's allowing her to say all this. Like, you should be saying, hey, listen, at least at the very least, hey, you two, let's try to get along. Let's try to work it out. Your future wife should never be kicking out your kid. And the simple fact that, hello, your kid pays half the bills. It wasn't up until, last month? She didn't have to pay for the cable, the electric, or the groceries. So, again, you calm down because she's paying her way up until last month because you're trying to kick her out and she's trying to save money.
Exactly. And how long have you known Leida? Like,
yeah. And would Leida kick her son out?
I think Leida controls him big time. And I think also he's just a pushover. And I think it's really sad. It's also selfish in his own ways because he's not being a good dad and he doesn't care about his kids.
But she controls him in a gross way. Like when he was
like
folding.
Puts him down,
when he was folding the comforter.
The comforter, yeah.
And she was like, no, that's not proper. Fold it again. I was like,
I'm better than you because my dad's a surgeon.
Yeah, I was
and
like,
you don't have money.
Oh, no.
Who says, I don't
no.
like
You know what? Let me be me and I'll fold it the way I want to fold it. If it's not up to your standards, then you go ahead and fold it yourself. How about that?
Oh my God, I can't stand her. I can't. She's a
can't.
freaking brat. And then she was also saying like how her house back home. I'm like, really? If your house is that great back home, don't come here. Like, she's like, you can like sit on the floor and there's like no dust. And over here, there's just like, and finally we're almost getting rid of the dust when she was cleaning the apartment.
Yeah, so if it's that great, move to Indonesia. How about that? Pack it all up and y'all move there if you're going to live in the life of luxury and you're just going to be complaining the whole time.
I want to see, they should go back to her hometown and see what she's lied about or maybe told the truth about. I don't know.
But do you remember the first episode? They showed the house briefly. They did, and they had like that blue sky kind of thing. I mean, it was all right.
It was okay.
Yeah, it was all right. It wasn't all, I mean, I need to see more. Show me the house. Show me the money. Right. Let's move on to Jonathan and Fernanda.
Poor Tasha. I'm so sad about that. There was a lot of sad, like, things going on in this episode. A
lot of control, like you said, a lot of controlling, weird issues, for sure.
My opinion, okay, we'll talk about Jonathan and Fernanda first, and then I'll share my opinion. Because of all these age differences, control, this stuff, I'm seeing like a pattern. It's bugging me, though.
Okay, I think it's age, but it's more than just the age part. I think there's more to it. Okay. We'll talk about it. Jonathan and Fernanda, so they're in Chicago. They meet his sister Jackie and her boyfriend Patrick for the first time, and his mom. And I thought, okay, so Jackie was cool with her, like civil, and she had a lot of questions. And I thought that was a great interaction for them to have, so that Jackie could see that, hey, you know what? Fernanda's a sweet girl, and she didn't know that Jonathan didn't tell you guys about her. And, so I thought that was a great interaction. I do think that the sister was a little like, I don't think you should have met her.
Yeah, and Fernanda's younger than her.
Yeah, Jackie's 22 and Fernanda's 19, right? So Jackie's like, I can't even imagine getting married at 22. But, I mean, if you want to do it, go ahead. But I love that Patrick was like, hey, dude, I'm all supportive since day one. Go for it, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was great. What I didn't like was meeting Cece, the mom. Cece was terrible to Fernanda. Terrible.
Because
she said in so many ways, like, don't get married. Like, you made Jonathan miss Christmas when he got engaged to you. Then, they found out on Facebook and the Facebook feed. So she's already mad about that. She's like, you're way too young. And do you notice like the communication between Jonathan and his mom was like almost passive aggressive?
Yes.
Bitter.
They don't have good, a good relationship.
So she was like making fun of him going to be like 52. And she's like, well, do the numbers. Make sure you know the number. You'll be 52 and she'll be like 22. And he's like, no, I'll be like 42. Right. So she, and then, what words of wisdom basically do you have for us? And she's like, don't do it, right? Like, don't get married. And then he was like, well, you would know, like, you're on your second marriage or whatever.
Yeah, because he was like, oh, maybe you should give us some, like, advice, some consultation because you've been married a couple times.
Yeah, like, who talks like that to your family, your mom? Like, I was like...
That's kind of scary, too, the relationship when you're marrying. I would be really cautious of the relationship they have with their mother.
Yeah, absolutely. As a female. That's why I was like, what some beef is going on here with these two? This is new. And then when Fernanda was like, oh... like, I would love for you to come wedding dress shopping for me. And she was like, that's like too much. I'm going to have to process it. It's too much for me to process in one day. I was like, what?
This is, okay, what? Now I always wondered, I was kind of like, why isn't he introducing to his mom? But he was like, she's going to make Fernanda feel bad. He's probably protecting her. And then he doesn't have a good relationship with his mom, so he's probably staying away from her. There's something
going on though, because remember he said that my mom is really jealous. And then I was like, back then I was like, why would your mom be jealous? Like what in that? Is it because maybe similar to Debbie where you're like the man in her life and now the attention is taken away from her, which I can see because they said that Jackie said that they used to talk every single day, right? Jonathan and his mom used to talk every day. That he met Fernanda and then they grew apart.
Oh, okay, go on, sorry.
So I'm just thinking like maybe she feels jealous in the sense that this girl is taking the attention away that she probably is missing and wanting.
And you know what? just an opinion I have, but I don't know if it's right. But also, she had him young, so she kind of like. Sometimes I know it's because my sister had her daughter young, and it's like they're close,
like
friends. Yeah, they're like your besties.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that has a bearing into this because, for maybe she does, like you were saying, rely. She's dependent on Jonathan. Yeah. We're gonna find out some more stuff, some weird stuff.
That emotional support, right? So if you are used to talking to your son every single day, and then your son stops calling you, you're gonna be sad about it and probably a little hurt. And then you find out that there's this other woman, right, who is taking kind of your place. Yeah, I could see it. It's not healthy, but I could see it. Right?
But as a healthy parent, you let your children live their lives and go off and move away and have families and live their own life. But maybe, she's jealous because she didn't have that.
Yeah, she was terrible to Fernanda. Again, we have this poor girl in a
she's
city
innocent in
that
all
she
of
doesn't
it.
know anybody. She really is. Family's really important to her, and she's really trying to say, hey, please welcome me to your family.
Especially she's coming over here and she doesn't even have his family support. So who does she have?
That's what I'm saying.
His friends are they're not her friends. She has nobody. Jonathan, but they have been fighting a lot. In every episode, she seems to be crying. And then this episode again, she's getting hurt. Fernanda, think about it.
Yeah. It's too late.
They're
married.
I know, but there's a lot of red flags.
Let's move on to Kalani and Asuelu.
Oh, no, the other one.
You guys, I am just seeing this corrupt world break this little man's heart.
Is this a trend? Can we talk? Wait, is this a trend going on? Because we were kind of talking about the age differences, but I'm seeing some sort of little bit of control, especially in this relationship, but control going on. And it's are you marrying these people because you love them, or is it because you have power in a relationship over them? And they're younger than you and they're naive. What do you know? From 30 to 23, that is there's a lot of growth that happens during those years.
I agree. I do think that people of different ages can get together and find love.
Yes.
I think that if we're going to talk about it now before we move on to Kalani, I think that what we're seeing is a power issue, a power struggle, for the lack of a better term. And you're seeing it with the Americans against the non-Americans. And the Americans hey, I'm financially paying for everything right now, so I'm in charge. Not thinking about how this person has left their entire life to come over. So they're going to be dependent on you until they can get settled with their green card and find a car and find a job and all of those things. But I do see in this season more than any of the other seasons, because I haven't seen it in the other seasons. I've seen crazy little quirks, but this season there's a lot of control. There's a lot of control.
Yeah. And I think also the Americans in this circumstance, I'm rooting for those abroad, but I see that, they're bringing them over and it's oh, well, I call the shots now that you're over here. But they gave up so much. Yeah, they might not have been wealthy, rich or anything, but they had their family, they had their friends, they had good lives over there too. Yep. Just because you don't have money doesn't mean you're not happy.
What's crazy is that
they were having fun.
We see it with Colt and Larissa.
Yes.
We see it with Ashley and Jay.
Yep.
We see it with Leida and Eric, Jonathan, and now even Kalani, and Kalani's the female. So the only person that we don't see it with is Steven, and Steven's in Russia right now. So I don't know, guys.
What's going to happen when Olga comes over here?
I don't know.
I'm scared.
But
terrified.
Kalani and Asuelu. So they're settling into Utah. They're involving Nick, her brother, in the relationship. And we knew that was coming, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it. She decides that she's going to release the reins a little bit and let the father of her kid take the kid out alone, but not alone because Nick is going to chaperone them. So
that is her child too. That's his child.
This couple, so they go do that, and Nick says he gets some red flags because he puts Asuelu puts Oliver on his shoulders and holds him and whatever. And Nick is trying to say, don't do that. It's not safe and blah, blah, blah.
He's so annoying. Annoying.
I agreed with Asuelu, mind your own business.
Yeah.
I'm the dad here.
Get off my back, dude.
Literally. Get off my back,
dude.
For real. And then, they take him, and this was really sweet to me. Like, he never rode a bike before.
Cute. Okay, I can see why he's fun. He's like, but I also think she wants to control, or she is controlling him. She wants to control him.
But she can't have it both ways. You can't have like the fun, happy-go-lucky guy that obviously you fell in love with. Also control and say, this is how you have to do things. And you can only do it my way, and my way is the only way. Like, so my whole issue with all of these couples, and especially with Kalani and Asuelu, is you fell in love with this person for a reason, and how they are is how they are, and that's what you fell in love with. Now don't just come and turn it around and be like, everything that you're doing, like he said, is wrong. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. You have to do it this way. Let them make their own mistakes. Let them do things their own way, because you know what? Guess what, Stacey? Maybe something they do the way they do it, you might learn from.
Exactly.
How about that?
Maybe that's more healthy. Maybe not controlling your child and being a helicopter parent, making them scared of the world too.
And then for her to say that she doesn't think that she's going to marry him because of how he is with his son.
Yeah. That's low. It's low.
Stupid.
And I think also it's weird because she talks so badly about him to her family too.
Yeah. And he's
why are you with him then? And I love that he's like, why are you with me then? Yeah. Like, what is the point? If you're going to we'll talk about that right now though, if you want to move on to like when she told him, oh, I had my brother looking out for you and watching you.
Yeah. So he comes and he communicates that, hey, I thought I had a good day overall. But Nick needs to mind his own business. Right. And she's like, well, I told you to watch Oliver and I told him to watch you. And he just looked at her, and I was like, you know what? You sound ridiculous. Like, let him figure it out on his own. He's not trying to harm the kid in any shape or way because that's his child. Maybe he doesn't know as much as you do. But again, I'm going to say this. That kid is, 5-6 months old? You've had 5 or 6 months worth of training. That's it. He's had, a month so far?
But I think even if the baby wasn't present, she would find a reason to, put him down. Like there would be something else. I feel like she's a type that would look for it. You know what I mean? To try to make him feel bad. And it's like she thinks, I don't know.
Whatever it is, all I'm seeing is that this guy who's like happy,
cute, nice,
go lucky is like getting beat down verbally, beat down, and he just looks so sad about it.
His little soul, that was so sad. I feel bad for him. I think that he just wants to live life. He's excited. Yeah, it's pure, huh? He's like pretty innocent, and he's here like, oh well, there's good everywhere. There's good in everything, and she's just like, let me squash that happiness. I don't want to see you happy.
That's exactly how I feel about it. I think it's terrible.
Can we talk about the bike?
Yes. Oh, he's so cute. What did he say? My boo hole.
My boo hole hurt.
Hashtag boo hole all day long.
I kept replaying the part though because he's so funny. He's good for TV.
Yeah,
he's really good for TV.
Yeah, he's really cute.
When he was learning to ride the bike and they let go and he's like, "You release the bike." When he fell and I kept replaying that.
And he was like shocked about it too. He was like, wait a minute. And then when they were like, well, you have to pedal, he's like, no, because that makes the bike go faster. That's the whole point. But he got the hang of it. It was really sweet.
And why wasn't he wearing shoes when he was riding the bike?
So that
was interesting.
I made a note of that. So when he first started riding the bike, he was barefoot. But then as soon as he got on the grass, but as soon as he got on the cement part, he had flip-flops on.
Okay.
So I was like, why? Where are your shoes? Did you get in the car with no shoes on? Are we still on the island?
Yeah, there was one last thing I wanted to talk about before we move on. Remember when he was in the car too, and then what was his name? Nick, the brother. Nick asked him, "Well, what do you love about Oliver so much?" And he said he's white and his mother's from America. It was a joke. Like this guy is so comical.
It was a joke, but he really did mean that. He really did mean that. I loved it, guys. These couples, I don't know, but let's get into some news and gossip.
News and gossip.
These couples. You go for it. So
okay, guys.
That first one is go for it.
Okay. It's pretty long, guys, but we're going to read it. Okay, so Larissa responds on Instagram about all these allegations against her for leaving her kids, yada, 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 and I'll read it really fast. She put, "Hi, everyone. I would like to address something about my kids. I really did not want to talk about them because they're young and they can't make choices yet. I don't know if they wanted to be expressed or not, but once I am really tired of all these rumors and respect to my followers." So the English isn't that well right now, so I'm just going to read it verbatim. I will make it brief about what happened in the past. I was in college studying to become a nurse, and against my father's desire, I interrupted the school to move with my former boyfriend to another state and start a life together. We lived together for 2 years and had a son. The relationship did not work out. We had a very bad breakup. Once the father was not paying child support and my family was not talking to me, I found myself financially and emotionally unable to take care of my son. I spent all my savings and I tried everything to find a job, but in Brazil, as everyone knows, life can be very hard sometimes. For this reason, I decided to let his aunt adopt him. She was always there for me and she loved him very much. This decision still breaks my heart today, and it was very delicate. It was a very delicate matter for me. It is a regret that I have to live with, and I don't need anyone to point the finger at my face. I've already suffered enough. I really hope I can reconnect with him one day when he's old enough to understand that I made the best decision I could.
So here's the thing, though. That's just your one child. What about your other child?
She talks about the other child too, that she left, and this was for a similar reason, because financially she was unable to support that child.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say this. I think that there are a lot of people that struggle and have children and don't give their children away. That's it. Moving on. So Ashley posted this on her Instagram. So a lot of people are asking why I look so sad and like I was crying for days in last night's episode, which is the episode they watched on Sunday. This photo was taken hours before that filming. I had a reaction to medication for lupus and my eyes and necks were completely broke out. They gave me steroids to help it, but it wasn't completely gone. I was battling this the entire rest of the season, so I just wanted to address it. So, she has lupus. This girl has gone through so much. That's all I can say. So, feel better, get better, Ashley. And let's move on to the next one. So Tasha actually came out and she went on and answered questions regarding her dad in this last episode. And she was asked, what does your mom think about your dad after seeing the show and how he treated you? And she put, she's livid, but she's always hated my dad. I thought the mom and dad had a good relationship.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Maybe Tasha and the mom have been nice, and they're like, well, you know what, we're going to suck it up and maybe the mom was like, I just want my kids to have a relationship with their dad.
Maybe.
He might have done stuff like this in the past.
Maybe.
We don't know. This might be a pattern. And there were some more questions that were asked, and they asked, are you and Leida on good terms? And she says she doesn't talk to her or her dad anymore. What's interesting,
and I just want to jump in real quick.
Done.
And so 2 days ago, Leida got deleted from Instagram. She's banned. So that's a thing too. So
wait, so why? What happened?
Apparently she was getting death threats and she was responding to them. And apparently she was responding to them in a way that was offending people. And so, you guys can't mess with the Reddit community. I don't care if you're on TV or not. That Reddit community will go after you. And a group of them went after her and they reported her and all the things she was saying. And Instagram took her down. So then she went on Eric's Instagram and basically was like, hey, let me tell my story, is basically what she was saying.
And then Tasha said she can't stop laughing about it. And her Instagram got taken down.
I mean, it got taken down. There it is.
So much about this couple. And I guess they're still not talking to Tasha. Sad, though.
I get it. Is your relationship with your dad strained since Leida arrived? Well, we no longer talk.
Yeah.
So, yes. Wow. That's sad.
That's so sad.
He's going to regret that. You're going to regret that, Eric. Mark my words. You're going to regret not talking to your daughter. Whatever happens with your wife, whether you guys get married or not, that's your daughter, and she's always your daughter for
it's your
life.
Blood.
Yeah. What's this one?
She calls her a step monster. Leida, the step monster.
Okay, so I wanted to read something that Fernanda posted
Okay.
on her Instagram, and it was really more about what she posted than a picture. So in the pictures, long story short, there's like 5 of them. It's the reception, so we know that she got married.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you all for being supportive after today's episodes. I know you guys feel bad for me, but it is nothing to feel bad for. Cece did what any mom would do. She worries about her son's decision. Unfortunately, Jonathan, after being alone and away from home for so many years, he lost the communication. It is something that he's working on. It was hard in the beginning, but once that she knew, and I showed her that the only thing I want is help to Jonathan reconnect with his family and be a good wife for him and grow together. She felt relieved, and she's been really sweet and nice with me. I love her so much for giving birth and raising the awesome man that I have. She's a mama, and I feel that she is mother-in-law, and I'm part of her family.
She's nice. She's sweet.
Yeah, I think that this girl just really thinks family is important, and she took in all the stuff that Cece did, and I guess moving forward, they were able to work it out, and I guess we'll see it more throughout the season.
I want to know if any of her family came over for the wedding or anything.
In these photos, it looked like her mom was there. So
really?
Yeah, if you check out her Instagram feed, then you'll see it. Guys, I found this online, and this is just so perfect. If you're upsetty or feeling regretty, eat some spaghetti.
AKA Larissa. She's made it to the billboards.
I loved it. Go ahead, Larissa. Handle it.
Regretty.
Colty.
Okay.
And then the next one over.
Oh my gosh.
So Tasha defending her kingdom of trash.
Oh my.
But
you know what? I like her though, because she's her own person. She doesn't give a crap. She's like, I'm gonna dress the way I do. I'm gonna speak up, and I don't care. She's confident.
Yeah,
she's herself. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, if you're into that thing, then be you.
Be you.
Listen, she's smart enough to be able to wean off this crazy lady. So have at it. Couple of things from 90 Day Fiancé Tea. Oh, I have one more. Perfect. Jay, this is what I mentioned early. Jay, I'm not 13. I'm not your kid. All while drinking Capri Sun while she drinks wine. Really, Jay? I thought that was funny too. Because like you're drinking a Capri Sun. That
was when you like putting the little straw in. I'm not gonna lie, but I have Capri Sun, so can't hate on your parade.
Can't hate on the parade.
Love those.
So 90 Days Fiancé Tea. Colt was previously never interested in trying any kind of Latin cuisine. Larissa doesn't think he actually is interested in Brazilian culture at all. Larissa thinks that Colt hasn't done anything to plan for the wedding because his friends have partially convinced them that she's just with him for the green card. Steven and Olga took photos with the baby for leaving the hospital. They pretended everything was great for the photos, but Olga is worried the images will actually remind her of their fight. Oh, that's so sad. I'll read a couple more. Despite Ashley being frustrated with Jay always playing video games, he claims he only plays them for a couple of hours a day while she's asleep. Jack and her boyfriend Patrick had been together for well over a decade. However, a decade? So they were together since she was 12? However, at 22 years old, she doesn't think she's ready for marriage yet and is confused how Fernanda can be certain about it at just 19 years old. Damn. But over a decade, it says.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Your 20s are supposed to be fun.
Listen, you know what? I know some people that have found their soulmates in their and
you could live them with your best friend
18.
too.
Yeah, so it happens. Some people are just lucky like that. I don't know if it's these couples, but some people are. The morning after the fight, Steven bought Olga a stuffed bear and a rose to apologize. So I guess he's trying to be better and do better, but he's gonna have to do more. A than
roast.
That. So let's move on to some predictions. These couples.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
All right, you go first.
I think Jonathan's mom is going to have a breakdown when they go like dress shopping and everything. She's losing her boy.
Yep. Okay.
I think she's going to totally have a breakdown, and I think there's going to be. Then I think Fernanda's going to cry. She's going to be a lot of crying next episode. I think Colt and Larissa are going to have a huge blowout too. I think there's going to be a lot more fights this next episode.
Okay.
A lot more fights, and I think it's going to be sad with the Jay and Ashley situation that's coming up too.
I think that Kalani is going to continue to control Asuelu.
Oh, yeah.
But
She
you know
is.
what? I think that Asuelu is going to basically put his foot down, not in a mean way, but basically like, hey, you know what? If I'm not good enough, I'm just going to go. And I think that that's going to snap her out of her crazy controlling ways.
But
she's going to be really sad about it because I think he's the quiet storm guy. Like, he's only going to put up with so much,
That's
I
true.
think. And I think that he might leave her if she doesn't cut it out.
Yeah.
I think Jonathan and Fernanda, so this dress shopping is going to be a bad situation. And I think that we don't see Fernanda and Cece making up in this episode. I think it's going to take up until the wedding for the mom to really realize, hey, my son just got married and I'm going to have to like let go of the cord and let him be his own man. All while realizing you can still have a relationship if your child is married. It's okay. I think that, we saw a little bit from the social media, Leida, Eric, and Tasha. I think Leida's going to be the end of Eric. I think Eric has made some bad choices, and it's going to affect a trickle-down effect for his immediate family. And he's going to be bitten in the butt by this girl. Watch.
In the long run, yeah. I think they're still together. I think she's gonna end up leaving him when she's done with her med school or residency.
When she's got that green card, bye. That's exactly what's going to happen. And then Ashley and Jay, I think they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be
They're
okay.
totally in love.
Yeah, they're in love. Guys, we loved having you. Definitely make sure to reach out to us all on social media. I can be found at Linda Is So Girly.
And guys, you can catch me all over social media. And P.S. hit us up in the YouTube comments because we want to hear from you. And on Twitter, we want to hear your opinions about the episode. You can find me all over social media at Stacey Olivas.
Guys, we're back next week. Same time, same place. See you. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.